Welcome back to FM Storey. We're approaching the midway point of Season 8 of our Athletic Club save. The season started really well, but in the last couple of league games it's just started to tail off. Can we do anything to arrest that slide? Let's find out. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and without further ado, let's get going. We're approaching the end of December. We've played our last league game of 2029. And all we've got left before the turn of the year is the first round of the Copa del Rey against Real Valladolid. We ended the last episode after we'd beaten Red Bull Salzburg 4-3 in the Champions League, where we tried out that new formation with having lost the last two league games. We've already gone away from that. It didn't seem to work. I mean, we conceded 3 goals in the second half against Red Bull Salzburg, and then the following game in the league didn't go particularly well. So we followed up that game against Red Bull Salzburg with a 1-0 loss against Betis in the league, and really, we weren't creating anything. We weren't creating anywhere near enough good chances with that formation. So for the following game against Mallorca, we went back to the 4-2-3-1, although we tweaked it a bit. We did keep the roaming playmaker, the Segundo Volante, and we played it against Mallorca, first game, and we dominated possession. They didn't have a shot on target, and we won comfortably 3-0 up at half-time, and we just saw the game out in the second half. We then followed that up with a game against Alaves. We didn't create as many chances or as many decent chances, but again, we dominated possession. We kept them to 1 shot, 1 on target, kept another clean sheet, won 3-0 comfortably, and everything seems to be going pretty well. We then played against PSG in the Champions League, and we obviously didn't create, you can see from the stats, we didn't create as many chances as we had in the league, but we actually kept them reasonably quiet. I mean, their XG wasn't massive considering how good the side they've got is and everything like that. 1 goal, and it was a thunderous finish from Cody Gakpo. We just didn't create enough. On another day, we'd have easily kind of come away with a draw in that game, I think. And then the most recent game was a draw against Osasuna. We created chances, just weren't clinical enough, didn't get enough of them on target. We only had 3 shots on target out of 16, and we could have done better. But the formation seems to be working. The little tweaks we've done seem to be working. So we'll see how it goes, and we may need to tweak it further. But we certainly look better with the 4-2-3-1. It was just those 2 games against Atletico and against Real Sociedad. It really looked like we'd been figured out. So by changing the defensive line and the mentality, we're hoping that can give us a new lease of life. As far as the league's concerned, we're back up into second. We are 11 points behind Real Madrid, so it's looking like they're going to win yet another league title. But we are still ahead of Barcelona. Atletico and Real Sociedad, who we lost to, are down in 6th and 7th now, so they've had a bit of a bad run since they beat us. But really, you just need to push on in the league once we get into the new year, and just keep putting the performances together. I mean, the big difference this season is we've drawn a hell of a lot less games so far than we did at this stage last season. That's the big thing. We've turned most of those draws into victories this season, and that's obviously why we're a bit higher up the table. And just a quick look at the Champions League table. Following that game against PSG, we're sat in 18th on 9 points from the 6 games. So we've got 2 games left against Galatasaray and Gent, who are both outside of the top 24 at the moment. So hopefully we can pick up some points in those games just to solidify the place. And I mean, hopefully like a win against Galatasaray will probably make us safely into the top 24. But obviously it's easier said than doing that. So we just need to make sure we put in the performance when it comes to it. First round of the Copa del Rey against Real Valladolid, who are obviously in the second division at the moment. We've made quite a few changes to the team. Basically, we've taken the opportunity to rest some of the senior players and also give game time to some of the younger players, particularly in the defence with Ochoa, Montero, Ibanez starting. Got players that have been begging for game time, like Garmendia and Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel Rodriguez has actually played in the last few games, but hasn't exactly set the world alight. So we'll give him another chance in this, along with Garmendia and Uranga up front, and see what they can do. Well, that was I don't know what there is to say about that first half. Right, Uranga has just given the ball away. He's going to have to come off. Right, John Guerrero has given the ball away. Oh well. Guess it's not to be in the Copa del Rey this season. Oh. Maybe it wasn't such a wise decision in hindsight to make all those changes. We've now reached the end of January. We've got one game left in January, which is our last game in the Champions League phase against Gent, where December ended on a bit of a low with 2 losses and a draw. January has been anything but that. We've yet to concede a goal in January. As we were knocked out in the Copa del Rey in the first round before Christmas, all we've had in January so far is 3 league games and 1 Champions League game, and we've won them all without conceding. First up, we beat Celta Vigo 5-0 away. Unai Ribeiro picked up a very quick hat-trick in the first half, 11 minutes between the opening and the third goal, and Nico Serrano added 2 just to make it a really comfortable win. We also did that with just 36% possession. So how we managed to do that, I don't know with that level of possession, but we were obviously very secure at the back. They only had 1 shot on target, and that was towards the end of the game after we were already 5-0 up. We followed that up with a 2-0 victory against Getafe. Another comfortable victory, but we were a bit more wasteful with our chances than we were against Celta Vigo. But we picked up 2 early goals, Julian Guerrero and Unai Ribeiro before half-time, and we had enough about ourselves to see it through and pick up the result. We then went away to Galatasaray and dominated the game. Really weren't under any real kind of threat at any point. We won 4-0 up at half-time. Gave us a chance to rest some players as well in the second half. And Aymeric Laporte has seemed to have turned into a bit of a goal scorer with his hat-trick in the previous game and getting the opening 2 goals in this game. And then in the most recent game, we beat Valencia 2-0. It was a bit more of a struggle. It was a bit more of an even game. We didn't create quite as many chances as we had in the previous 2 games, but we were able to 2 fairly quick fire goals, one after the other towards the end of the first half, were enough to see us to victory and maintain the fact that we haven't conceded a goal yet in January. As far as the league's concerned, we're currently sat second, with 3 points clear of Betis. We are 11 points behind Real Madrid, and it looks like they're heading to title number 8 of the save. They've won every season so far, but we really have kind of turned it around a bit. In January, those 3 victories have been really important in the league. Also, I know we said this earlier, but the big difference between this season and last season is, at this point last season, I think we'd drawn 9 games in the league. This season we've only drawn 2, and we've turned most of those into victories. So definitely a big improvement on where we were at this stage last season. And going into the last round of games in the league phase of the Champions League, we're currently sat in 15th position. If we win, there's an outside chance that we can somehow get into the top 8, but pretty unlikely. But we are guaranteed to be in the top 24, just because Benfica in 25th are on 8 points, so they can't match our points total. So we're guaranteed to be in the next stage of the Champions League, and hopefully we can pick up a win against Gent just to push ourselves a bit closer towards that top 8. But like I say, I think it's pretty unlikely that we'll be able to finish in that top 8. And then we'll see who we've got in the first knockout round. So going into the game against Gent, we're going in with the same team that we've had in the last couple of outings. It's a fairly settled team at this point. Danny Vivian's now back from his Achilles injury. He came off the bench in the last game. He's only fit enough to play 45 minutes. We're currently missing Nico Serrano, who's ill, and John Carrier-Bakaru, who is injured. So it kind of reduces the options we've got at the top end of the pitch. But we've been fairly clinical, and obviously defensively we've been pretty solid. So hopefully we can continue that in this game. We're already guaranteed to be in the next round. So obviously we'll probably bring some of the less experienced players on in the second half, just to give them a run out. Right, we've nicked the ball back. Javi Lopez to Nico Williams. Javi Lopez with the cross. Surely that's not offside. That can't possibly be offside. So Nico Williams down the left, lays it back to Javi Lopez, swings the crossover. Unai Ribeiro gets in front of the defender and across the face of the goal and into the bottom corner. Ribeiro again. I mean, like I say, we've been pretty solid at the back again. Like, they've not had a shot, but we have only had 32% of the possession, and we've had all the shots, and we've now 2-0 up. So obviously something's working here. Lovely ball from Sunset and a nice finish. Right, John Gray with the corner. Oh. Keeping the pressure on. Javi Lopez, decent save from the keeper. Oh, he has scored this time. I wasn't expecting him to get up and head that. So Javi Lopez with the throw. Nico Williams back to Javi Lopez. Cross to the back post. Uregi rises above the defender and heads it across the keeper into the top corner. Overall, I think you've got to be happy with that. 3-0 up away from home at half time. Only had 39% possession. They've not had a single shot. Can't get much better than that. Right, Laporte. Back to Lenormand. Danny Vivian. Vallejo with the 1-2 with Danny Vivian. Oh, and what a dinked finish that was. It's a little dink to lift it over the keeper. So Normand into Vallejo. Back to Vivian. First time ball. He cuts inside and just lifts it over the keeper and in off the post. Right, Normand to Vivian. Guillemon to Vallejo. Vivian with a lovely ball. What a finish that is from Julian John Guerrero. Oh, ball coming over his shoulder. Right, so Vallejo into Danny Vivian. One touch. Lifts the ball over the centre half. Over Julian John Guerrero's shoulder. And he just volleys it past the keeper. 5-0 up. Full time. Brilliant performance. 5-0 victors. 15 shots on target. With only 42% possession. They had 3 shots and none of them were on target. We've really improved from a defensive standpoint. Because at points during this save, we've been pretty leaky. So to go the whole month without conceding a goal is quite impressive. We just need to keep going now in both the league and the Champions League. And that's the end of this episode. Nice to be ending on a high. Join us next time to see if we can continue this run in the Champions League, see if we can continue our decent run in the league, and to see how long we can go without conceding a goal. See you then.